They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What an excellent day for NXIVM.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
We have such sights to show you.
Who's laughing now?
Are you crazy? I'll kill you all. I'm the nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
They're here.
There we go. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
How are you?
Doing very well. And how's everybody out there? Looks like you're joining us right now. I appreciate it, guys. Be sure to share this if you can. Do us that little favor. It's a big help. And I guess before we get into it too much, I had one question that pertains to the show because we were talking cults. We're talking one cult in particular, and that is NXIVM, which is going to be some fun. A little creepy, a little dangerous, a little horrible, but I would say fun still. A fun conversation. What out there, I'm going to ask you guys this first, would make you join a cult? And it doesn't have to be a serious answer. You can go crazy with this. But what do you think would get you like, maybe I'll sign up. Maybe I could go into this.
There was a movie called Starry Eyes. And she joins a cult so she can get the part. Have you seen that movie?
Yup. That's a great
movie. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's free on Tubi.
Okay.
But she wants to get this part, and she's gonna become famous, and like get all this money if she joins that cult. So maybe something like that, where I know like my future is secured, like for me and my family. I'm trying to make it good.
Yeah, probably the same. If I had like money where I could take care of myself. Yeah, I think so. But other than that, I'm a really hard person to convince to join a cult.
Yeah, me too. I think it'd be hard for me to join.
Like, I'm not
but
a
if it was
person
something
to
like
hurt
that,
people,
like if I had to join. No, trust me. I've had like opportunities where I'm like, no, I don't want to work with that person. Like, no.
No, thank you.
No.
I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not into hurting people in any means, so I'm good.
Yeah, I cry when I kill bugs. But it has to be done, okay? It has to be done.
I agree with that, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, no, I think cult life is not made for everybody, and that's a good thing, because it doesn't sound like it's a very fun life, especially when it came to these poor ladies in this one.
Oh, gosh, no.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to really begin. I guess we could start from the top. Do you guys have anything you want to... Who wants to jump in first?
No, there's a lot. When I started doing research on this, there was more and more and like more. He branches off into different things, and it's crazy.
Like an onion.
Yeah, it's exactly like layers. Like it's just crazy what one person is capable of over women too.
Yes.
It was mind blowing.
Oh yeah, I like that. Lex is
to
wearing
say the least.
Cult of Chucky shirt. Does wearing merchandise make you join a cult? I would say yes. If the merchandise is good enough, I would probably join.
Isn't he dope? Look at the homeboy.
That is cool. I dig it. I dig that a lot. What do you call it? But I'm gonna put this on screen if I can get it to show off real quick, because we are talking about I mean, it starts with one individual in particular. There's one gentleman, gosh dang it, Keith Raniere. How do I pronounce it?
But he would be referred to as Vanguard.
Yes.
Vanguard. Exactly.
Which I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I would call this guy Vanguard. No, he looks like an uber nerd. Yeah.
He's so cute. Look at him.
Obviously, he had to brainwash all those women. Like, and the worst thing is that the women would look at him like he was so smart, and he took a test or something, and he was like in the society, the mega society, I think, of really smart people.
He was claimed to be a genius. He was like speaking full sentences by like the time he was 1. He had like
they claimed.
IQ. Yeah, they claimed. He could write poetry at the age of like 2. They claimed so.
But his college GPA was like 2 point something. Like it was a C.
Yeah, exactly. Don't seem like no genius to me.
Mm-mm.
I would say smart people get low grades still. I was a C student, and I feel not genius level. That's for sure. That's not gonna happen. But it's like there's some lights on in this shack. But I don't know. Yeah, he definitely doesn't seem like he's that smart. Frank saying he seems hella smart with the glasses. That's true. Glasses automatically make you like 5 points smarter, minimum.
Yeah, I'm sure he's intelligent in some aspects, but not in the way they portrayed him to be.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And to answer Charles' question here, so I'm gonna take this off screen for a second. No, wait, take this off screen. There we go. What is the definition of a cult? Relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. I definitely think this one falls under that strange or sinister. I don't really think it was religious in practice. It was more like self-help, more spiritual, I guess.
Yeah, he tried to like do a self-help, but like it was more like a spiritual thing, like praising him as God. So it's like his own spiritual practice.
I actually have the warning signs of a cult, and this one has like all of them.
So throw them out there.
Okay, so it's a charismatic leader. So somebody that can't do anything wrong. They know the whole truth. They're always right. They can't be wrong at anything. Shady finances, like where does the money go? You're donating money or you're giving money to a company. Where's it going? Fear of the outside world. Us versus them. So those people were there because they believe of something else. They're wrong. We're right. We can't trust them. They're the enemy.
Oh, shit.
Trash talk of the former members, like the people who left. They talk really badly about them, like they couldn't handle it. And there's always something wrong with you too. They always want you to get to the next level so you can be better. There's always a problem with you that you can't solve, but they can help you solve it.
That sounds a lot like the Scientology stuff, and it also sounds like I might need to start a cult because that sounds pretty good to me. I'm good with that. I could have under the table finances. Outside world, terrible. Inside, great. That's why they invented DoorDash, all right? I don't have to go out there. All that sounds just great. Sounds like Scientology. Yeah, Frankie, yeah, exactly. Scientology like in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He actually took things from Scientology too. Like he would look at religions and other things, and he took that, like there's like suppressive people too. So they would use that like, oh, that's a suppressive person. You can't talk to them. To control you.
That's one of those. Yeah, that's one of those trigger, warnings or just the warning signs. Like I'm not going to be around this particular group of people. They're telling me who I can and cannot associate with. That always throws me off. Like cults, group of people, any kind of individual, any type of group that tells you that does not sit well with me. And Scientology actually is moving one of their main buildings into my hometown of Ventura, California. I left as a high school student, came back a couple years later when I graduated, and they took over one of the largest, nicest buildings overlooking the ocean. So that cult is doing very well, at least over there.
We have one here.
You have Scientology in Arizona?
Yeah, in Tucson.
You?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I looked it up. It's like, I'm a member, you guys.
Well, we have the Lex, go pull her out, please. Get her out of there.
Oh God, abort.
Real quick question. Please be kidding. Thank you, Charles. So we can consider mass religion like Christianity, Buddhism as a cult, but it's large, not small, and supposedly has no sinister intentions behind it. That's the tricky part right there. Like, where do you draw the line at sinister? Because I don't really think churches and religion are always on the up and up either. So just because it's big doesn't mean it's a good thing. But just because it's not your belief doesn't make it sinister either. Like,
right.
I don't know, if Scientology didn't do certain things, like, you know, how they gang stalk older members and they tell you can't be with certain people, it would just be some weirdos talking about, you know, aliens. So it's like, who cares? But it's just little things that make it bad. I don't know. That's a hard one to rationalize.
That Cults and Extreme Beliefs show that I was telling you guys about, the second episode was Jehovah's Witnesses, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I've been watching videos about them too.
Yeah, they're not allowed to celebrate birthdays. They're not allowed to celebrate Valentine's Day, Christmas, anything. They have to, like, and when they're in school, they have to, like, leave and not be a part of it, and they're not allowed to talk to certain people. Like, it's set up to be an outcast from everybody. It's like,
yeah,
it's
like
crazy.
You can't have an outside interest either. Because
Right.
I was listening to a story about a teenager that loved soccer, football, and he had a magazine of that sport. And one of, like, the elders got mad at him, like, you're supposed to read the Watchtower. You can't read about this. So it's always, like, being in that. And I'm like, how do you not get, like, burnt out of the same thing all the time?
That's too much. I think, when you focus on something that intently and you have nothing else in your life, you become a shell of a person. You have to have other interests.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. But it's like the same with them. Our reality is like evil compared to what they believe in.
Us versus them.
Right. Like, our world is ran by the devil, apparently. So I thought that was really interesting. So
that is a crazy way to think about it.
Yeah.
You know, because I could never really see from their perspective, but then looking in like that would be, wow. Yeah, definitely not something I want to do.
I had a little bit of that because my grandma had a church. She had a smaller one, but I was like, when I went through a checklist, it's like everything. So I think she had like a cult.
Nice.
But it made me realize why I had a fear of, like, religion, and I still do. But she was very like that, like, being afraid of the outside world. Like, I don't know how to say it in English, but that person is like worldly. She would say it, sort of.
Like God.
But I didn't spend a lot of time with her. My parents didn't let me. Like, they knew better.
It was probably a good call, maybe.
It's fair, yeah.
No, all my cousins and stuff, we say, like, thank God we didn't spend a lot of time there. But I think it was sort of like a cult, the way she did it with my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you never know. Maybe there's something to open to these cults. I want to hear what this guy has to say for himself. I have a video here, kind of him explaining a little bit about his beliefs. So if you guys, I'll throw that on real quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me get this going proper. There we go.
Could you tell us about your ideas for this education for a new Earth?
Oh, that's interesting. Children need to become adults. That is, in our bodies, they're mature. We can breed, we can go out and produce, we can sustain ourselves. But then there's another stage of upbringing, of education that must happen, making adults become humanitarian adults, ecological adults, adults that can understand the nature of being on a planet, being in an environment with many, many people and many, many different types, and the basic practices of how to do that. So one of the most important things I believe in the upbringing of children is that children need to be exposed and have deep relationships, teacher, adult relationships, where the child is brought up by people from different cultures, so that the child does not feel, first and foremost, I am of such and such a culture, and then second most, I am human. And I translate all these cultures, as I did when I was a child, translating the French culture into American, translating German culture into American, translating Chinese culture into American. That subjugates those cultures. But I think our children could have a much better time if they were brought up with 3 or 5 different cultures, and that they see themselves as something that is beyond those cultures, that is human, that is common to all of those cultures, and that every individual that participates in these different cultures is not that culture first, human second, but human first, that happens to have this flavor or that culture or that culture.
Must stop it right there so we don't watch too much into that.
That flavor.
That flavor. Yeah. You definitely want your kids to have flavor. You know, you're tired of these bland kids. It's really terrible. And Alejandro says that it really depends on the beliefs behind the cult and what they're trying to achieve. That's another good thing. That's another thing to bring up, because right there he sounds reasonably like just is a little like on the hippie side, kind of feeling not bad. I mean, there's nothing that he was saying that was really like sinister in that little clip.
Yeah.
The next step after that, it just, you know, escalates into what he wants to achieve, which, if like we were talking about earlier, the MLMs or the self-improvement stuff, all looks good and fine on the surface, but at the end, it's really what he wants for himself and what he benefits off of these people, money, power, manipulation over them. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had a ranking system. They had sashes. Yeah. And I think for each one, it was $100,000 for each sash. And when you were in the company, you would work, you would get like some money back, but it was like putting more money into the company, because the classes were like $3,000, $4,000. And then the more you went up, the more you had to pay. But for attractive women, they would get like, they would do it free. If he found them attractive, he would like, they would get the sash.
They had to be like a certain height. They had to be a certain weight. Like they had to be young.
He would control their diet.
Very young.
And I imagine that's why he would control the diet, so they would look more girlish, which is sick.
That, and I feel like them being like malnourished, they didn't have energy to really fight back at him. So that gave him even more power over them as well.
Did you guys hear about the volleyball stuff? So they would do the classes all day, and then after they would start playing volleyball at 10:30, and sometimes it would end until 7 a.m. So imagine being in a class, learning all this stuff, being like mentally exhausted, and then you would go play with him volleyball and be physically exhausted, and that would break you down easier.
Geez, that's like a cult 101 thing, malnourishment and overexertion. Like you look at Jim Jones over in Jonestown, they were all working nonstop, and then after they were done working manual labor, they had to listen to his sermons at night, and those would go on until early morning. There's one from Japan, Om Shinrikyo, where they would be working around the clock, and then they would have like cabbage stew for days on end. Like that's all they had for food. So that seems like such a common like thread among cults. There's malnutrition and just wearing people down until they really just can't say no anymore. It's just, you know what, I'm just gonna go with it because I'm tired and I'm hungry, and I believed them to this point, so why not continue to go?
Yeah, it's like what Marlene said about the breaking down. It's breaking that person down, even physically as well as mentally. Like get them at their lowest point. That way they have to look up to you.
Oof, could not agree more.
One thing in a cult. It's like
I think that's probably why I couldn't join, because I like food. This wouldn't work out.
It was 800
calories. Me too. I'm a stoner. Yeah. I'm a pothead. You deny me my munchies, I'm a fight.
I get cranky when I don't eat.
Yeah.
But it was 800 calories. That's how much they had, like 500 to 800 calories.
No.
No way.
So
terrible.
the least a woman should have is like 1,200. The least. And
That
depending on the body
sounds terrible too. That would make me sad. That would make me sad all
I know.
day.
I'm like, I want pancakes. I would be so out.
But he was not the only one running this whole thing, though. There is obviously his co founder. Gosh dang it, where's her name?
Is it
Just had it
Nancy?
right there. Nancy.
I have it too.
Sullivan?
I'm like, hold on, let me flip through my
Is it
600 pages of notes.
Salzman. Yeah.
Salzman.
Almost.
Nancy Salzman and Allison Mack, who I think a lot of people will know Allison Mack more than they would Nancy Salzman. But here's actually, I got another little clip to show you guys of Allison just talking about different parts of like questions that they ask about NXIVM and about DOS and whatnot, and her kind of just answering them freely. And it's kind of a recruitment video basically for what they are doing. So I just want to get a couple of seconds of her just giving her thoughts on this stuff.
For Janice, I think it's the most gratifying thing I've ever done. It's the most challenging thing I've ever done because it's working with people in a way that is totally independent, meaning we're all working together and no one is ever punished and no one is ever told that they're wrong or they're bad. And the most important thing in working on Jeunesse is the relationships in Jeunesse. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to the objective men. I'm used to having like strict, hard, fast deadlines and lots of fear and punishment if I don't get it right. And in working for Jeunesse, there isn't any of that. So it comes purely from a place of self-motivation and self-direction. And that is really difficult. But I would say that working for Jeunesse is the most satisfying and purposeful thing I've ever done. Watching the women who are involved in Jeunesse completely transform and evolve in a way that is so pure is such a privilege. And really literally seeing people's lives path completely turn 180 degrees, where in one moment they really felt like this was all that they had and this was all that they could do, and then all of a sudden they come through Jeunesse and they start working with us and in our community, and it's like a whole nother life is born out of their new experience of themselves, and that's an incredibly satisfying and gratifying thing to do. I think it's challenging because I think Jeunesse is an organization that looks to all participants to be 100% responsible for themselves and their lives. So it makes it hard to blame people for mistakes that are made when you're always looking at your own responsibility and participation in the situation. But that's just hard for my ego and my pride. I think if the whole world operated in that way, we'd have a much more joyful and a much more efficient existence. The amount of time that we spend blaming one another is a little ridiculous. So working for Jeunesse is grounding and satisfying and humbling and wonderful.
Okay, I just wanted to stop it right there because that kind of talks about two of the points you guys brought up. Let me turn my mic down. Sorry. That brings up the point of the multi-level, the Jeunesse, another group, and exactly what she was talking about was people coming to them because there's something wrong with them. I think Marlene, you might have mentioned that in the warning signs, them telling you there's something wrong with you and now we can fix you. And I thought that was very interesting to point it out right there.
So Jeunesse was supposed to be women empowerment group. That one.
Right. It was a workshop to help find their inner core or find who they are, kind of thing.
I'm guessing that's not how it ended up. I'm gonna put that out there.
No, absolutely not. It was polarized.
Because they were trying to teach women that women can only be with one man, women are supposed to be spoiled, that men have like the hardest time ever. It wasn't women empowerment at all.
Sounds like a pretty good group, actually. Yeah, I don't mind that.
It was Keith was saying that women are flaky, that we can never stick to what we say, and if we don't like something, we like book it. Men have the right to be poly. They get to spread their seed, and then women have to be monogamous. They have to be loyal. Yeah. So and
I don't like it.
women are weak. Women are to serve men. So it was like, it was just so disgusting. And how women find themselves.
Yeah, women empowerment group. Let's stick together.
No, we grow as women. No, you don't.
I mean, I love that, but not how they did.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, as women, we should grow and everything, but they did it such a wrong way, and it's because Keith was behind it, but he couldn't be the face of it. They're like, it's a man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
not.
Exactly.
And that's exactly why he used Allison, because she's nice and sweet, and she doesn't come off as a threat like Keith does. So, of course, everyone.
I feel like she's a victim.
Yes,
like, she's such a victim. I know she's like serving time, I think, but I'm like, she was completely brainwashed and everything.
He had to break her down, just like he did everybody else to get her to that point. So. Agreed.
I'm looking that up real quick to see what her sentencing actually was. Like, how much time did she get?
I think I wrote it down, actually, because I think I looked it up. He got 120 years.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Good, but crazy.
Yeah.
Now, before we go into anything, I want to ask you guys then real quick. Just off of that video you saw, like, you didn't know anything else about next, or I guess Janess in this case. Would you go to like a meeting or something? Would you like get more into it just from her?
If I just saw that video, yes, I would go check it out. Oh, she made it so intriguing, and so like she's a good salesperson, very good. Like
she's an
made it
actress.
intriguing. I would check it out. Exactly.
She definitely did a good job. And Alejandro said by her eyes, you can tell that she's lying. I don't know. I sometimes you can see people lying. I could not tell with her. She just seemed like, I think you guys said it.
Genuine,
yeah, innocent,
like a friend.
Genuine, yeah.
But it would be very difficult not to believe her, I think, for a lot of people. And it seems like that. I think in what's his name's case, there was 100 victim statements read, or over 100. And it's insane, because I had no idea how big this thing was. I thought it was like 24 people or something.
It's
an onion.
Yeah. Ooh. I also read in his court case that the people that still supported him, he wanted them to make a contest to see who can find the errors in his case to help him.
Oh wow!
And there was like there was a $25 prize if someone could find like a little loophole to help him get out of jail. I'm like, this guy is crazy.
He has a huge ego.
Huge. And he still has people supporting him, which is the crazy part.
They have dance parties outside his house.
Yep. And I guess like a whole bunch of women that he was living with when they arrested him were chasing after the car, trying to break him out of the car. And I'm like, oh my God.
By the way, when he was on the run, I think he was staying in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And he was trying to do an orgy, but the members there. And I'm like, you're on the run, like priorities first. That's not a priority right now. With Allison Mack and I think the girlfriend, the main girlfriend, Susan,
where is her name?
There was a girlfriend named Camilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, and women, like, when they would get older, they would start to die of cancer. Really? I think one of them was Barbara, by the way, that they were suspecting that he would poison her, that she was taking some pills, and those pills would smell weird. And she died of cancer, and he wanted the body.
Ew.
No, he wanted the body because they probably didn't want to find the poison, and the sister's like, no. And he was like, I'll just take the head. Like, so insensitive.
Okay. Jeez.
Oh my God.
So there's so many layers. There's so many things to this.
Wow.
I don't know if you can justify that. Just give me the head. That's all I'm asking. Like, no.
Yeah, I mean, like to the sister, her sister just died.
Just give me the head.
Yeah, because he wanted the body. I imagine they didn't want to do an autopsy on it because she was taking these pills that smelled really bad. So I'm guessing he was poisoning her with something.
But what would the head? But what would the head do? Okay.
I don't know. He's just an asshole. I don't know.
I think that's right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Charles. Shame about Allison Mack. I liked her on the show back when I watched it. I actually never watched Smallville. I think that was.
I didn't watch it either.
Yeah.
I just remember the commercials. That's it.
I know of it. I've never watched it.
And I agree with Charlie here on YouTube.
There's
I think
fun in jail.
Yeah.
There's different types of orgies in jail, though, Charlie.
That's not the kind of orgy you want. Like, 100% no, I'm good.
It might be a better fit for him, though.
It might, for protection in jail, maybe. But this is the one thing I probably agree with him. Like, if I'm on the run, I might as well make the best of this last little.
Yeah. I'm gonna go out with a bang, apparently.
Mm-hmm. I know that.
You guys, he's located here in Tucson, right? Like he got moved to the prison here.
No, he did not.
Yes, yes.
Whoa.
I heard that. I think he was somewhere like in New York.
Or worse.
He's here in
What do you
Tucson.
call it?
Damn it. Ew.
I mean, you guys could probably get an interview. I mean, I don't know if he'd talk to me.
Imagine.
I
What if I come back and I'm like,
so
NXIVM is a great organization.
No, I kind of want to pick his brain, but no thanks.
But yeah, it's like,
He's
not
a
that
creep.
much.
No, he's a creep.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
definitely
looks like he doesn't shower. I'm like, no wonder you have to brainwash women into.
Oh.
Well, that he had some of the women, grooming him. That was part of like one of their rules is they had to groom him and then have sex whenever he wanted. I was like,
one of the missions was to seduce him, by the way, in DOS. But he would make it seem like he was celibate, by the way. Like he was too good for sex, so he would say he was celibate, and I think he had a son with somebody, and he paid that woman to say he was adopted. Like that was his adopted son.
He had two kids. And then Camilla, his original girlfriend, when she got pregnant, she had to get abortions. Had to.
A lot of them. A lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of them did.
Jeez. Oh man.
Did you guys hear about Gina Hutchinson?
No.
So he went out with her when she was like 15. He was like 28.
Yep.
Yeah, he groomed her, and he would tell her that she had to lose weight. She weighed 130 pounds. She was already small.
Yeah.
And then after he dumped her because he was like, she found out that he was with her girlfriends and stuff like that, and she got upset, and he was telling her like, no, we all have to share the love, but if she did it, like, she couldn't have other boyfriends.
Mm-hmm.
But she went back to NXIVM, and then I don't know what happened, but they found her with a bullet to her head. But he would brainwash her into suicide. Like he would show her suicide porn and snuff films and stuff like that. He was trying to brainwash her because he said that she was like she had ascend to the next level.
Yeah.
And
that's not how you do it.
Yeah. I think he did it. A lot of people suspect it was him.
Oh God.
Because bullet to the head, I mean, he could do that.
I would not doubt it at that point. I thought the worst things was the human trafficking part, because I was gonna bring that up in a second. That Nancy Salzman and her daughter Lauren admitted to holding someone against their will from March of 2010 till April of 2012. An unnamed person, they just go by Daniela in the court cases, it looks like, and they basically had a human slave. And
yeah,
they
I was
would,
gonna bring her up.
Yeah. Go ahead and get into it.
Well, that she, how the woman could not have any boyfriends. Like he could have as many women as he wants, but the woman could not. And he found her kissing a guy. And that's why they kept her captive, because she was kissing a guy.
I mean, getting cheated on doesn't feel good, but you don't get to like imprison people. It's not fair.
No, but they brought the mom too.
What?
The mom?
Yeah. Yeah, so like she would behave. So the mom was in prison too.
Wow.
God, that's just. Oh, that's just it goes deeper than I really thought. Because when I first heard about this,
it does.
It sounded like kooky people in Hollywood and New York, because it started in New York. I just thought it was like, okay, they joined a group that gave this dude money and sex whenever he wanted it, and they made a bad choice in the end there. Hopefully, just bilked out of money and their time, but it goes so much further, and that's just ugh.
Same
And
thing same
go
thing
ahead.
with
Sorry.
Camilla. She was 15, and he was sleeping with all the sisters.
Oh,
And-
yes, I heard about her. Yeah.
Yeah, she was 15. He was 25, and then she had to be under 100 pounds.
Mhm.
And then he was sleeping with all of the sisters. So he was sleeping with all of them. I think like 2 of them had his kids, and then Camilla had to have abortions because he didn't want any kids, and it was just crazy. And then he would replace her for a younger.
He would replace
girl when she
women.
got older. Yeah, exactly. They would get to a certain age, and then he would just like, all right, next.
They
one.
would
And then
die.
They would be 15. I'm like, what? Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, that's ridiculous.
No, it's so gross.
And just looking at him and hearing him talk for that brief thing we had earlier, he doesn't seem charismatic enough to pull this kind of stuff off. Like, I don't see the appeal. I don't get it.
I think he was good at hypnotherapy too.
Yes. And he's very good at using other people as pawns to do it for him too. So it's not just him behind it.
So he built his own little structure basically of how to do it.
Right.
See, that makes more sense, because like you have guys like oh my goodness, L. Ron Hubbard, who wrote Scientology. He wrote a bunch of science fiction before that, and he kind of built everything on his own, and then found lackeys around him. But if it wasn't for him, it would not have gotten to where it was. There's no way. Or this guy seems like if it wasn't for the people around him, he wouldn't have gotten to where he could be. So like vice versa.
Right.
That's just insane. Because again, he's not. Yeah, he could not. I don't think he could do this definitely on his own. You think he required the help of I think it was the Seagrams, Nancy and her. Yeah, Seagram's heir. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, so he's coming from money, and a lot of these clients, or a lot of the members had money because they were people trying to better themselves, and those kind of things attract people who have stuff to spare or who have nothing else to lose whatsoever. And that's the two kind of people you want to get, which is sad.
Right.
When I was reading, they actually want to get smart people into cults, because they want that business mentality. Like they want them to be working for them and get more people as well.
Right.
I get that. I think I feel like he just doesn't. I mean, I don't know, because a lot of the little things that they say, if any of them were true, like any of the self-help or their belief system was true at any point, if it wasn't for him, could these ideas have helped people? Like self-betterment, that whole multicultural bringing up of people, like where you're not just focused on one culture, but everybody's. I kind of get what he's saying with that thing, but the way he used it was more malicious. It was a weapon to make people completely devoid of a personality, so they're just a blank slate he could take over.
It was basically just power. It's power.
Sex and power.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because DOS was supposed to be a secret society for the women, and he was not supposed to know about it, but he was the one that came up with it.
Right.
But he used Allison.
I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. I mean, if you're gonna be that crazy, you may as well go all the way crazy with it.
So because it was a secret society, that's why they would have collateral on the women who were in DOS. They would either have to pay or send naked pictures of themselves, or even make up rumors. Like one actress, Sarah Edmondson, she didn't have a collateral, but she had to make a video saying that her husband beat up her kids and her, even though it was false. It would be like false stuff that they would have to do too.
Sarah Edmondson, she did the interview in the Cult and Extreme Beliefs that I was telling you guys about, and it's called Collateralize Your Life, where she had to take a nude photo of herself, she had to write a written confession, had to make a video of her shit talking all the members of her family, and then she had to send it to Lauren, who was the head,
her master.
Yeah. And she was the master, and she, like, if she you had to respond within 60 seconds of her at any given time. It was crazy.
Everyone in DOS.
Everyone,
like if they sent you a message, you had 60 seconds, or you would get a penance. You would all get a penance.
And then they would the punishment was to get paddled, and they would be naked, and they would video it and send it to Keith.
Well, I mean, that just sounds like a normal Wednesday for me, so I don't know about that one. That's fine. That's whatever. But my God, no, that's.
But they
it's a secret society. You can't talk about it. We need something on you, so you don't talk about the secret society. And that's where the branding happened, because they're like, you need to go through pain so you can get better in life and survive that pain. But they were saying, like, it's one of the most. That actress Sarah was saying that was worse than childbirth, and it's such a sensitive area too.
Right on the crotch area too. She said it was like 45 minutes she had to sit there.
Yeah, they would hold you down. You would get completely naked, and they would hold you down. But before you would have to say, "I want to be branded, Master."
Oh God!
Yeah,
dang.
please brand me.
You would get naked, and they would hold you down for 45 minutes. Which that shouldn't take 45
they
minutes.
Were videoing it too. No, it shouldn't.
That's insane. Actually, being burned is the worst. What do you call it? I had a surgery on my back. It was to remove a tumor, and it was like right above the skin, or right under the skin, excuse me. So all they had to do was just suture it closed, and I didn't feel any of the removal. Just numb the area, so I was like, okay, this is going super easy. All I'm doing is laying back and letting this super old guy, he's like 90 years old in a back brace, by the way, cut me open and do this little surgery. And he's like, okay, so I'm going to cauterize the wound, and we're all done. And the moment, like, he said that, I could feel it through the numbing. That shit hurts. Being burned is not fun. I don't understand how people could want to go through that, let alone be coaxed into it by like, I'm going to put my initials on you. Although I don't think he said, it wasn't, he didn't tell them.
They weren't allowed to see what they were going to get.
But it was supposed to be the 4 elements of the earth. That's what they told them, the 4 elements of the earth. But Sarah, she started to see that it was the initials of Keith and Allison.
Yep.
Yeah. And real quick here, guys, I know it has this thing that says karma on here. I think someone just organized that themselves. I don't think that had anything actually to do with it. I think it was just a happenstance or a coincidence, because Keith Raniere and then Allison Mack. So you could just rearrange those to make karma. So I don't think that that wasn't their plan. I think they just wanted their initials on people, which is really diabolical.
Branding, like animals.
Why would you want that? I don't even understand the want of that.
Dominance, claiming.
Yeah,
I never wanted to claim anyone that much, I guess.
DOS means master over slave.
Yeah, slave and master relationship.
Yeah. And they had to be like, hi, master. Each morning you would wake up to your master who would say, hi, master, and then we'd go to sleep, goodbye, good night, master.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes one of the girls, India Oxenberg, like if they texted you and they wanted to take a picture, you had to pull over and take that picture. Like you had to stop everything you were doing. You cannot be
within that 60 seconds. Yep.
Yeah, you cannot be without your phone.
that's just it's one of those things like being on the outside I can see how bad it is, but once you're on the inside that far, it's got to be such a weird feeling.
Not eating a lot too. Like I get cranky when I don't eat, like for a few hours. So I imagine that mindset.
Same. I'd be a bitch.
I get hangry.
I don't know if that would. I'm not gonna take a naked picture for somebody if I'm hungry though. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm be angry. I get nothing.
I would be kicked out of that group. Like
I would have been booted.
Chips.
Executed probably at that point.
No, man. Okay. And you guys mentioned the sashes earlier. I just wanted to show these off. I believe I found the right picture of them. So that is the different levels. And then there's another picture. Goodness, where is the other one? I had another one here of people wearing them. And let me get it on there real quick. I'll keep talking. I gotta find this. I put it in the wrong spot. I apologize. Come on.
Did you hear about the fright experiment that he did?
No.
Mm-mm.
So another way that he broke them down was, I guess, one of the founders with him, Mark, found a video of women on their knees and they were getting beheaded. And Keith thought it would be a very smart idea to do a fright experiment to see how the females would respond. So he would throw a monitor cap on them and like finger sensors and would make them watch this video to see how they would respond and how they felt about themselves after.
Whoa.
It was nuts.
Man, this guy.
Yeah.
There's so many.
See? Layers. Just more and more.
Layers and layers. I mean, that's some of them.
I thought that was so.
Like, wow. Ooh.
I feel bad for the people that were in the MLM part of it, that they're like, you're part of a sex cult, and they're not even part of the sex cult. They're like, what? We're just trying to better ourselves.
Yeah.
So they're always going to be associated with that.
Wait, are you sad for them because they weren't part of the sex cult? Like, they didn't get any part of that? Like,
it was executive success programs. So like the people who took those programs it was just to get better and become more confident and stuff like that. But they're always going to be associated to a sex cult.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're like so oblivious to it, but you're still a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That happens in quite a few different cults too. Like what do you call it? Children of God had little churches around the world, and certain ones had no idea which one. Yeah, that one. And then, so each layer into the discussion makes things difficult to get through. I got Charles, explain that a little more for me.
Yeah, elaborate on that one.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, let us know what you mean, bro. And
cult has so many parts to it. It was hard. There's so many things going on.
There was so many videos and so many stories. I was just like, wow, over one person.
No,
he's
honestly,
yeah, he was a busy man.
Hey, don't be bragging too hard, okay? We had a Charlie Manson here before he died, like when he was dying here in Bakersfield. So pretty cool place. I just want to point that out.
We don't want him. Take him.
Actually, a little side note, real quick. I know this is off topic, but my little sister gets treatments every week, and her nurse was actually the same nurse for Charlie Manson at one point, but for only so long, because they wouldn't let anybody, including nurses, caseworkers, guards, anybody be with him for longer than a few days, because they would start warming up to him. Apparently, he was really good at that all the way up until the end. Like, they did not want anybody going a little too far down the rabbit hole with Charlie Manson. And he had heart problems, which is why he died here in Bakersfield. We have a great heart hospital. Good job. Good job, Bakersfield. Good job. Even if it is to help a bad person. But she remembered talking to him a few times, and he was just as nice as could be. And and he still had his little swastika on the forehead and this craziness. But she said that she could see why they make people leave him so often. And so that's those kind of cult leaders that like, if you don't be careful without knowing anything or with knowing all of it, you might still fall a little bit. And I thought that was crazy to me because she was a smart lady. She was a nurse. You know, she had a good head on her shoulders. She had a family. She had a husband that was really cool. But easily different time, different scenario. Just like, you know, Keith meeting these people throughout their lives and bringing people in. The same thing happened throughout California and, you know, in I don't really know where else Scientology really got its foothold. I think it was the LA area too. And there's obviously other spots, but anywhere on the planet, you know, someone with enough information and enough, you know, little bit of charm can really do some damage if they're not well intentioned, I guess. Oof.
Well, I was listening to some of the people, and it's usually because they want to help other people too. They want to do something good in the world. But another person can take that and use it to their advantage and not for the good of the world. But yeah. And we're all given talents, and they just use their talents a little worse than others. Yeah. I heard that too. They shut down the entire floor. I think that was more for security purposes too, because he's old, but he was crazy. But good news is though that Allison Mack, Catherine, or not Catherine, my goodness, why can I not remember her name every time? Girl? I forget her name too. I remember her face, but her name.
My goodness, every time. Nancy Salzman. Nancy, Keith, and Allison, and a few others have all been charged and tried, and they will be going to prison, or at least jail. Allison Mack is only serving 3 years, and what do you call it? She'll be doing a lot of community service after that, along with Nancy. Obviously, the biggest sentence was served for the guy who did the worst damage and who started all this. And Lex, you were saying his sentencing, right? You had that?
Yeah, he got 120 years in prison.
120 friggin' years.
120.
I think justified though.
No chance of parole, nothing. He gets nothing.
I say good. I like that.
That was very good. I was shocked that he even got a lawyer, and this lawyer was actually trying to defend him. And in the story, I guess the judge was interrupting the lawyer and being like, "No, there's like no intent when it comes to children," and like, no, absolutely not. So that's why she gave 120 with nothing. Like she was not having it.
Good. That doesn't bother me one bit.
I was really happy about that. I was like, that's really cool.
I hope Allison gets help because I feel like she was one of the biggest victims there.
Yeah. I didn't see what she got, but she did get the $5 million bond too. So I was like, damn.
Yeah. But she only got 3 years in jail, and then a bunch. Yeah. But I mean, she did do stuff like you said. She was very much coerced into it. So she
was just as much guilty, hurting all the females and recording it and being behind it 100%.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, she's a victim too, because she was tricked into doing that.
I agree with that.
When you see her talking to him, you can see the way she looks at him, like if he's God or something. This big superstar, like it was the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah,
it is crazy. And then you guys are talking about layers. I'm talking about referring to the more deeper you dive into the discussion on specific persons, cults, etc. You're referring to deeper, darker things the further you discuss. Oh, okay, I get you. So the deeper in, the more disgusting usually it gets. I guess in this case we kind of glossed over the multi-level marketing thing, which would probably be the least horrible thing he did.
Still horrible, but
it's still bad. Yeah, it's still a scam technically, but
the
I'd rather you scam my money than brand me.
Yeah, he would break those people down mentally though, and physically too. But I think the sex one is worse.
Oh yeah, 100%.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
100%. And the branding. Oh my god.
That
Branding
that
definitely.
painful.
Woo! Yikes.
Yeah. You've done
Okay.
tattoos in that area, right? Do they say it's painful?
I have done tattoos in that area, and I have tattoos that kind of go in that area. So I could just, oh god, I could just imagine how horrible that could feel.
That skin is so thin right here.
It is very, very thin. So it's like he's cutting through like freaking plastic, kind of just right through it, and then
and it wasn't like a tattoo needle either. It was like
no,
a huge...
it was a I can never say this freaking word right. Cauterizing iron pen, one of those pens, you know, those wood burning pens.
A soldering tool.
That yes, I can never say it right.
Because I thought of that, like that skin is so thin, and that area is so thin too. There's not a lot of fat.
It's very
to
tender
it.
too. There's a lot of nerve endings right there. Yeah. And they're all holding you down. No.
Naked, completely naked. I'm like, why do you have to be completely naked to put you down?
No,
Well,
not a fan.
they were videoing it for Keith, so that was like his personal porn. So.
Oh. Yeah, that's just. It's just because it's a whole different mindset of person to want to watch that, to want it done.
Right.
So it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. I'd like, I would stop at the money. I'm sorry. I don't want. That would be my cult. I'm sorry. I couldn't do the rest.
Yeah, some people think with like seeing people in pain is just so like amazing. Not amazing, but like astonishing to me. Like I kind of I'm one of those people that just wants to know why you tick this way.
Me too.
Like why is this enjoyable to see people in
pain?
I mean, I get for power, but why? Yeah.
I think of that too with children of God. I'm like, why a kid? Like, why a kid? Like, that's so crazy. How can you love a kid?
Like the most innocent thing on the planet. Right.
Like, how can you find a kid attractive? Like, I don't get it. They smell sometimes. Like,
They smell sometimes.
Like, I don't get why their mind goes
me
there.
having a child, I totally get that because I'm like, ew. Gross.
You know what I mean? Like, they're I don't know. It's like, how can you find a kid attractive? Like, I just don't get it. Like, how?
That's one of the many reasons. Yeah.
I just like the first thing when I see little kids, like hug them, not like love them.
Right, they're
that
so
way.
sweet and innocent, and
they make you laugh. So like, I think like, what's wrong with like, what is going on in their mind that they want to do that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think that'll have to be another cult that we talk about in the future, Children of God, because that one is, I mean,
that one's upsetting. That one's so
very
upsetting. Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that on the Cults and Extreme Beliefs, and I'm like, I'm not watching that one.
It's really rough.
With little kids, it really bothers me. I just
it breaks my heart.
Yeah. Makes me
Oh,
want to
man.
lock my kid up.
I don't blame you.
Cool. All right. I'm going to leave it on this last comment here. It reminds me of the movie Sallow. Yeah, 100 Days in Sodom or something? It's an older movie where it's just a bunch of torture porn, basically. It's a really messed up movie. I think the director got in trouble for making it.
I can't watch that.
No, I don't recommend it.
Stuff like that, I can't. I don't want to see stuff like that.
No, it's too much. It's way too much.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it? But yeah, we're at time, guys. I think very glad to hear that he is in prison and that he's not getting out. That makes me happy.
In Tucson.
Yeah. I follow that.
Oh God.
Oh man. If you see any like self-help groups pop up and like he escapes at the same time, maybe check it out.
Stay in the house.
I'm gonna come pick you up, Marlene. We're packing our shit and we're leaving.
You take your kid, I'll take my dog.
Okay.
That's smart. That's smart.
Mission to go.
All right. Let's wrap this one up, guys. Any last words before we close this one out, guys?
Yeah, one of the girls that had the branding, she got a tattoo over it, and she said she wanted to keep it. Yeah, she said she wanted to keep the branding, but make something beautiful out of it. And it said, like, in Latin words, still learning above it. It's like an evil eye. And I thought that was beautiful because, like, out of something
really
horrible, she got something even better, and she made it more beautiful. Became stronger.
Positive. I like that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And Alejandro, real quick, guys, we will be back next Tuesday. Different topic. Still something probably horrible like this. Some scary, some spooky. We'll figure that out soon, though, and we will let you guys know ASAP. And thank you for watching. Yeah, that's gonna wrap it. All right. Say bye, guys.
Good night, guys.